and welcome to the final episode of Round 1 here on the Cage Fight podcast.
The final episode of Cage Fight.
Wait, you're telling me we're gonna watch good films soon? No, I can't. I don't know if I'm ready for that quite yet.
As someone who sat through 36 bad movies thus far, I am very ready for it. But don't worry, there will be some bad ones in the next round too. I mean, for instance, some of the winners from this round, and like some of the ones that just got a bye week into the next round. There's all sorts of stuff.
Luckily, all the movies that advanced from this round were super good, so we don't have to worry about any stinkers making it through to the second round. I'm playing the Devil's Abacus.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say you were playing the Devil's Abacus? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
You never heard that phrase before?
It's a common phrase. But yeah, these are the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah,
y'all see Zandali? That shit was tight.
Amazing.
I wish we hadn't watched Zandali because now I can't come without watching it.
Or without some cocaine and olive oil shoved up your ass. But
oh yeah.
Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves. I'm Jess.
I'm Mike.
I am Taylor, and today I got a one-way plane ticket to Pakistan in the Middle Ages just to record this episode.
I mean, Pakistan knows how to party, and not a lot of people know that. But maybe if they watch some of the movies that we've watched, or if they just go to Pakistan, they would see that that place is pretty cool.
There's a reason why they call it Islamabad, because it gets bad up there, dude.
Oh yeah, it
Real
gets downright
bad
naughty.
Yeah, but fuck me, right? My introduction? Okay.
No. As nearly always, we've got Dave on the boards, unfortunately.
Hey,
stinking up the place
Dave.
with his fucking...
I will pitch ship the fuck out of you.
You're doing great,
You
Dave.
know, it's very lovely you joined us, Dave. Honestly, how many times have we fucking fired this dude? Or he's not listening, right? How many times have we fired this dude? And he keeps coming back.
I think I've lost count of how many times we fired him.
God, ridiculous.
He's just always around, though. But,
I'm going in the other room.
Oh, shit, okay.
Just ignore the help.
Bye, Dave.
Today we'll be talking to you about the movies Season of the Witch and Army of One. Both fairly recent movies, came out in the 2010s decade.
Which is basically peak Cage. Some of his best films released in this era.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As we all know, Nick Cage really peaked as an actor and as a performer in the last decade or so, for sure.
Yeah, Widow's peaked. Am I right?
Yeah. But yeah, some of his other hits from this decade include like USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage, and The Runner. Such wonderful hits.
Good one. Good pull.
Yeah.
Pay the Ghost, I think.
Yeah, I think Pay the Ghost was that decade.
So basically our favorites besides Zandali.
You know, that's the thing. You make it a 90s animated TV show, and it's Pay the Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh, that would be great. Space Ghost also streaming on HBO now, and I will tweet at them to pay us after this plug. So.
Oh, hell yes. They had all that budget for Game of Thrones, and it's not being spent on that anymore. So, like, what the hell are they going to spend it on? Us,
yeah,
baby.
Silicon Valley or something? Sick.
No, I mean, I was going to say, we need some of that Emilia Clarke titty money from HBO. So I'm ready for that sponsorship whenever.
Hell yes. We should move on to the movies now, I guess. Actually start talking about these things.
I mean, if you really want to, are you sure you really want to do that on Cage Fight? I feel like it's kind of redundant, don't you think? It's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, we've done a lot of that in the past, and I think maybe we should just move forward and just do different things with the show. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like just for the fans, we got to give it at least one last hurrah.
I agree.
Send it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, at some point, Fred Durst Friday is just going to kind of the blob style take over our entire podcast. So
That's what I'm hoping for, to be honest. That's kind of why I got on here, so I could take over the whole show creatively and kind of push you all out. So
yeah, I mean, it's a stepping stone.
But for that last hurrah, we're gonna go with Season of the Witch, the one you've all been waiting for. This is a movie that came out in 2011. Great year,
Great year.
That was the year that we got Bin Laden, which will be very relevant in the next episode for the next movie.
We got him, folks.
we got him.
But this movie's rated PG-13 and was directed by Dominic Sena, who we just saw a movie of his last episode.
You're kidding. You're joking with me.
I have a question, Jess. I've been on a couple episodes. why are all of these movies trending and kind of bleeding into each other and with regards to their creative influences? I don't understand all this. You have same directors, actors, themes. It's like, come on.
Well, I think it's because we carefully planned out this bracket and arranged things just for that to show all of
everything-
it.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Everything we
That
do
makes-
is super calculated and intentional. And any coincidences that happen to sneak in, to quote my buddy Gary Faulkner, are acts of God. So
Acts of Russell Brand.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that movie yet. I think we clearly want to talk about that one. But so this was produced by Atlas Entertainment with a budget of $40 million. And can y'all guess the box office gross? What are y'all feeling on this one?
I'm feeling it made $40 million and like $40 million and $1. I think it just barely broke its budget.
I'm gonna say that it made 39,999 million.
Oh,
So
okay.
y'all are
So we're
going
playing
like
the
Price is Right style.
Yeah, playing the Price is Right rules. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Well, y'all are both under. It's $91.6 million. That means this is a movie
fucking
in
shit.
the fucking black. That's 11 out of
Oh,
37
shit.
movies.
Honestly, out of all the movies I've seen on Cage Fight so far, I'm shocked that this was one of the ones that did.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had heard of this movie and I thought I was familiar with it, but upon watching it, realized that none of it was familiar at all.
And I just think it's cool that Nick Cage was in a Halloween sequel where he goes to a mask factory in Northern California and experiences some very spooky Celtic like ritual stuff.
Yeah, you see, when they made this movie, they were trying to meet John Carpenter's original wishes of it being more of an anthology series. And so they removed the titular character, John Halloween, and they inserted Nicolas Cage, who plays the titular witch.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
I don't think we should get into the plot before we actually get into the plot. You know what I mean? Like, save
That's
it for
cool.
this
And
section.
Honestly, I think we should let Jess lead this because she clearly took a lot of notes. So,
Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. This has an 11%
oh,
from the critics, 30% audience rating though. So that's all the general facts I have. Mike, you got some extra special trivia for us?
I don't have a ton of trivia this time around, but I do have a few interesting tidbits. So for whoever's keeping the list of all the shit that Nicolas Cage has learned to do for his roles,
Oh,
you know,
we should really be noting this. I feel.
learning Navajo and Japanese and how to drive a car 10 different ways. He learned how to ride a horse for this movie. So he can basically, that's like every kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
He can,
This man can
even
travel
there's-
no matter the time period, no matter the means, no matter the distance. He will get you there.
yeah, he can even get to
That was a
Pakistan by
fucking-
boat, probably.
Yeah.
no, he goes the fucking distance, dude. I mean, literally, is there any type of travel, either like domestic, international, interstellar, that he cannot do?
If so, we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was directed by Dominic Sena, as we mentioned, but apparently there was like an extensive uncredited reshoot by Brett Ratner. So maybe Dominic Sena made a big doo-doo out of this. I don't really know what that's about.
You know, a movie is good when reshoots have to happen, and it's directed by the guy who made the fucking worst X-Men movie.
Oh, that's who it is. God.
Yeah. If anybody can save the day, it's going to be him. That's all I'm saying.
You know, people will probably
Uh,
hate me for this, but I haven't seen any X-Men movie that came out after the third X-Men. Was that Last Stand?
What the fuck?
Oh wait, no,
Yeah, no, the Last Stand was the one he made. The Last Stand was the one he directed.
What the fuck?
wait, I did see the one where he's in Japan, I think, actually, but that's it.
That's honestly not a bad one. I like that movie.
What the fuck?
Mike is offended.
Yes, and so this movie was in development hell for 11 years.
Oh
it
my god!
It took 11 years to get this onto the screen. It bounced from MGM to Columbia, and then eventually Relativity.
No.
Uh,
The reason it was in there for 11 years because it was moving at relativistic speeds and
yeah,
time dilated.
it's a Hollywood darling. And I think that is evident in how many people have touched it and then stopped.
Just like me. So many people have touched me and just stopped.
But
Only because you're so lovable that it's frightening. Like this movie.
movie is very scary though.
I was a little spooked when I was looking up from my phone.
I'll be honest, I kind of pissed myself a little bit while watching it. It just got me that scared and frankly excited.
And that's all the trivia I really have. It was written by a guy named Bragi F. Shute.
By Malcolm Brogdon?
What?
That sounds like Malcolm Brogdon's
It's Malcolm Brogdon's
alias.
pen name. And he also wrote the 2019 film Escape Room, which I have not seen, but I've heard is not great. So
I've heard very similar things.
So I guess then moving on into the plot summary, we'll just jump right into it. So this movie opens with the title zooming in on a book, and then immediately after that cuts very abruptly to 3 women screaming and crowds cheering, which I don't know that I've ever actually seen a movie that opens into loudness this quickly. Like usually the noise kind of fades in. You know what I mean? This one was just immediately like, bah! Like
yeah, it went from 0 to sexy right away. So
Absolutely, 100%. Like the opening of this movie got me hard as fuck. So it was pretty good.
But yeah, there's 3 women being dragged screaming, so we know what Taylor likes, to be hanged for witchcraft. And they all get accused, and one of them is like, I don't know, I was just making, like, lotion or something. I wasn't making any potions. Lotion, not potions. But, and then another one says, like, you will burn for what you're doing. Bah. And so they all get hung. And then the priest goes around after to read.
You know what? That fucking priest, and because I've been just so brain poisoned by the show, I thought that priest for a second was Peter Stormare, and I'm like, is it Peter Stormare in another fucking Nick Cage movie? The fuck?
I really hope he's in more. So far, he's the most recurring actor out of everyone.
Seriously, like, and I had to look it up just to be sure, but it was not Peter Stormare, and I was like, God damn it.
he was suspiciously absent this week, which was pretty upsetting.
So the priest goes around to the corpses of the witches to read the Book of Solomon to prevent the witches from resurrecting, but he is killed by a resurrected witch because he didn't do it quickly enough. So one thing I gotta say for absolutely no reason here, because I don't really care about historical accuracy, but it's just a fun fact. While there was definitely like condemnation of witchcraft throughout Europe in the Middle Ages, mostly associating it with devil worship, witch trials didn't really begin until the late 15th century after the publication of the book The Malleus Maleficarum. You should look that up if you can. It's very interesting, the history that surrounds witchcraft.
This is 13th century right now?
13th century, yeah. It's the Crusades.
Yeah, and also another fucking Nicolas Cage movie set in the Crusades. Like, come on.
It is kind of weird that Taylor came on and suddenly we have all these like old period pieces, because I don't think anything we watched before that had taken place in medieval times.
We've been saving these for you, dude.
Yeah, I don't think anything we'd even watched besides like some World War II movies were period pieces. But so Cage and Ron Perlman are crusaders, and they're in the front of the pack being real cocky, like betting about who's gonna kill more. Cage is really half-assing the delivery of his lines here.
And his hair looks like shit.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's really funny that Hellboy is on the side of God in this movie.
Yeah. He's a faithful
That
warrior
had to
of
be
God.
intentional. I was fucking rolling on the floor laughing from that one.
But so they break into a city, and in the chaos after breaking through the city walls, Cage stabs a woman who's just a civilian. I couldn't tell if that was an accident or intentional, but he immediately feels really, really guilty about it and looks around at all the slain women and children.
I'm gonna say just by the way that Nicolas Cage acts in a lot of his movies, him stabbing a woman would probably be intentional.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw what he did in Wicker Man, right?
I
He
did.
literally knocked a woman out while he's wearing a bear suit, for fuck's sake, dude. Come on.
Between Wicker Man
think,
and fucking Zandali and I'm sorry, Mike. Oh, and Firebirds too. But
in the director's cut, before stabbing her, he says something about how like nice guys never get the girl and they only like douchebags.
yeah, they cut out a whole incel rant before it. But yeah, he feels really guilty looking around at all the slain civilians. I have in my notes, this is weirdly like Outcast, which...
Yeah, no, this is like the exact same scene as Outcast. Like, it's like, oh, he sees people dying in the Crusades, then he has to like desert. It's the exact same fucking scene. It's just the only difference that Hayden Christensen's role in this movie is Ron Perlman's character, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, Cage is disgusted by the civilian murders, and he convinces Perlman to leave with him and stop fighting in this war. And will no longer serve the church. They're mad at the church's crusades, which cool.
I love how like they could go probably like years of just constant bloody warfare, but the second they see a couple dead people, it's like, oh, I think we're kind of fucking up here. And it's like, you guys literally went all the way through fucking Europe into Turkey, and now you're like, oh no, this shit's too much, dude. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And these guys sacked Constantinople and Belgrade, and they're just like, no, that's fine. And then they get to Turkey, and they're like, no, this shit's fucked up, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, nowadays killing civilians is just basic training.
I honestly think these guys are just like really big, like Turkish nationalists, and they just killed a couple Turkish people and like, oh shit, this is really fucked up. We can't do
Yeah, not anymore. They want to go kill Armenians instead. After this, we see them wander into a town that's infected with the plague that I think is supposed to be, I don't know, they make mentions to a couple of areas that are in like former Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, I looked at the subtitle, and it's in Styria, which is in modern day Austria and Slovenia. So could like in that general area.
Slovenia. Okay. Oh, I thought someone mentioned like Prague, but or Praha.
So yeah, like probably like Czech Republic, Austria, that general area.
Okay. But yeah, they wander into a town. It's infected with the plague. And somebody sees like the crest on their swords, and they're arrested for desertion. So they're taken before Christopher Lee, who has the shortest little cameo in this movie.
And a fucked up face.
Yeah, he's dying of the plague, and so they've got some crazy like bubonic makeup on him.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Yeah. So Christopher Lee is like some church official, I don't know, but he tells them that the town has been cursed with the plague caused by the Black Witch. And they say the witch, who is currently imprisoned, has to be taken to a monastery where there are some monks there that can determine if she really is a witch. And if she is, there's a book there, the Book of Solomon, that they can use to destroy her. I don't know. So they're like, you guys are going to do this, right, Cage and Perlman? And they're like, Cage is like, no. Then they're sitting in prison, and Cage sees the witch crying and changes his mind. I don't know if his thought was he was going to release her, but he's like, oh, I see the witch lady is just really sad about this. Well, I guess I'll go take her to be killed. But,
Put her out of her misery, you know?
yeah, fuck it. They head out with the witch, whose name is Anna, locked in a cart, along with a guide who was a merchant who was arrested, but he got pardoned so he could guide them through the woods. A monk whose name I don't remember, and some dude named Johann, who I don't know what he is or why he's with them. He did something in town, I don't know, but he's going with them. They're going to travel to the monastery through a forest where many people get lost. On the way out, they find they're being followed by a young guy who says he wants to pledge his service to them and become a knight. They initially say no, but after a small fight where he holds his own with Ron Perlman, they let him join. His name is Kay, I think.
Kay von Woolenbarth.
There are so many consequential character names.
A lot of names being tossed around and not enough time to really grasp who is who and why we have to care about them.
And frankly, I went into more detail.
There's so many
than
developed
necessary.
characters, and the movie's just not that long, so it's hard to remember everyone's names just because of how much character development there is.
Anna, while locked up, manages to get the key to her cage from the monk and escapes. And they follow her to some weird catacombs somewhere in the middle of nowhere with a mass grave. And Kay, the new kid, kills Johann by mistake when he comes at him charging out of nowhere because Johann is hallucinating and thinks Kay is his daughter.
It was the mass grave hypnotizing him. Yeah, I didn't understand a lot of what was happening there.
I think the implication was that Anna was putting some sort of spell on him to see something different, but once they capture her again, she cries and begs not to be taken back, saying she didn't want to be touched by the monk guy again. Can't be in his presence. But then there's a completely inconsequential scene where they come across a rickety suspension bridge and have some troubles crossing it. And once they get across it and set up camp, the guide guy just suggests that they kill Anna and head back. So Anna calls out a wolf's call. I think it's supposed to be ambiguous as to who did it, but it's just very clearly a human making a wolf call. It is not a wolf. And some wolves attack them all, and they run away to escape, but their guide is separated and eaten. And the wolves look magical. They got weird, like, scrunchy CGI faces. They get to the monastery, and all of the monks are dead of plague. So they take the Book of Solomon that's laying there, the one with the special verse, and start reading it to Anna to, kill her because she's a witch. And she suddenly becomes really monstrous looking, melts the bars that are keeping her in the cart, and becomes like a gargoyle thing and flies somewhere into the monastery.
We do need to reiterate how amazing the CG is in this movie.
It is very good.
So good. Like when she turned on the gargoyle thing and those wolves, I was just like, holy fuck, are there wolves and gargoyles in my living room right now? Like, it really fucked me up.
Yeah, it was kind of terrifying how photorealistic it was, because, even for this time, 2011, which, like, yeah, a CGI has gotten a bit better in the interim, but I don't know, this could stand up to anything I've seen today. This is up there with, like, The Rock, the Scorpion King, and The Mummy Returns.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the
honestly, I bought the 3D Blu-ray release of this film along with Outcast recently from Germany, and it was really amazing to me just how realistic all the CG in this movie was. I literally felt like it was in my living room, and I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
How is a movie like this never been watched by anybody except for basically us?
This is the movie that pushed me. I'm finally going to buy a 3D curved German TV to watch all the future movies with, because if they're anything like this, I'm going to want to see every last detail,
I want to see every fucking pore on Ron Perlman's face. Like, that's why I want a 4K TV.
Ron Perlman, come on.
They discover, apparently, because she turned into this gargoyle thing, that she is a demon, not a witch. So apparently there's a demon that has possessed Anna, and now they're going to read an exorcism thing from the Book of Solomon instead of the witch thing. So they search the monastery and realize that the demon wanted to come here. It was its plan all along. And as the priest dude tries to exorcise the demon, it raises the dead bodies of the monks that are around and attacks them all with it. The demon, like, snaps the priest's neck while he's reading the exorcism thing, and also kills Ron Perlman. But Kay, the new night boy, picks up the book and continues the ritual while Cage fights the demon. Cage, like, pins the demon to the wall with 2 daggers, just stabbing it in the wings, and he's just like, finish the ritual. So this demon that has the power to melt metal bars can't get out of being pinned to the wall with a dagger, even though it could presumably just melt the dagger. But it's successfully exorcised, but Cage is killed in the process, and Kay...
So honestly, during that whole fight scene, you totally forgot Ron Perlman got burnt to crisp, to ashes.
Oh, yeah, I did say that the demon killed him, but I might have been looking at my phone or something. I didn't see exactly.
Literally burned him and turned him into ashes. And I'm surprised Nick Cage, after that moment, didn't say, "You witches!
You witches!
Telling you to bring back your goddamn powers!"
So Cage and Perlman both die, but Kay now takes the freed Anna back to the city with the Book of Solomon. And I guess this is, according to the movie, canonically the reason why the Black Plague stopped in Europe.
Honestly, when I first saw that, like, heard that moment, it's like, oh, the Black Plague's going, and then witchcraft. I'm just like, I know this is for a narrative plot of a movie, but do we really have to bring, like, the level of scientific knowledge back to the 16th fucking century? Like, can we not do that?
Yeah, they really didn't need to say that at all. In fact, they didn't even have to say this was the Black Plague. They could have just said it was a town infected with the plague or something, But
Or they could have just said it was just some random disease that wasn't like, it could have just been a disease that gives you, like, a fucking, like, unicorn dick on your forehead or something. It didn't have to be the Black Plague.
I wish it was that. Holy shit.
That's actually a really good idea.
Hell yes.
We should make a movie about a disease like plague, and we just, like, buy, like, a bunch of, like, just 12-inch long, like, rainbow-colored dicks and put it on our foreheads. Like, this disease is killing all of us.
Will it be a porno?
No, it's not a porno, and no one really ever mentions the phallic symbol. It's
phallic
just
symbol.
Yeah, in this movie, it's like, what is this disease? Phallic.
Oh God. But yeah, that's the whole plot of the movie. And everybody's overall thoughts on this one?
This movie, honestly, I didn't hate it. I was honestly more entertained than I thought, but it is a movie that's very full of tropes, and it is not a movie with a whole lot of originality. And in fact, a really funny detail I noticed is So I don't know if you guys know, but Nick Cage was supposed to be Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings movies.
I didn't know that, and I'm shocked I didn't.
He was robbed.
But he was the first casting choice of Peter Jackson, and he turned it down. And I think he looked a lot like Aragorn in this movie. It's a Nick Cage version of Aragorn.
Yeah, just aged like 10 years.
And let's face it, I mean, a lot hotter than Viggo Mortensen. Like, we can all agree on that.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And the CGI in this movie was, frankly, very terrible. It was not very good.
Yeah, bad CGI even for the time.
Yeah, by 2011 standards, I mean, you know,
Avatar
even though it's a
had
bad
come out
movie,
like the year beforehand.
I was literally just gonna mention Avatar. Like Avatar, even though it had a way bigger budget, but that CGI in that movie still holds up pretty well, to be honest. Whereas, yeah, this movie, like, I bet you we could do better CGI on our like.
Yeah, I've seen some
There's, like, an
YouTubers
intro
that do
to,
some really fucking insane stuff. So, like,
Yeah, so it was really bad. The story was really boring, not super interesting. The characters were not very well fleshed out. I would not recommend this movie just because of how not intriguing it is.
Mhm.
But the action scenes and like stuff like that are better than like Outcast, for example. I know it's a very high bar to set. But,
Yeah, it was definitely a step above at the very least.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, it literally got double the Rotten Tomatoes critics score that Outcast.
That's true. Oh my god. You know, honestly, like, I feel like this movie is begging to be compared against Outcast because they're both about like disillusioned crusaders like on an escort mission to some random location. Like,
Yeah, I feel like the director of Outcast was like, okay, what if we did Season of the Witch, but I made it cooler, and then he tried that, but it turned out way worse.
And everyone is Chinese except for the two main characters.
yeah. But yeah, Mike, any thoughts on this?
I mean, it was an okay movie. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it was really boring. And it was, you know, hard to stay focused throughout a lot of it. But I mean, as far as Nick Cage Crusade movies goes, it's one of the top ones we've watched.
Absolutely, I would agree with that.
And yeah, it just, you know, nothing about the movie stood out enough for me to say like this is worth returning to. But it was funny that when I was looking at the reviews and I saw a lot of people applauding it for its originality. And I'm not exactly sure. They just, I guess, haven't seen or read anything. So
Watch anything, like any movie, any like high fantasy like movie or story from the 2000s has done all of these tropes but better.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this is like a completely original story to you, you're going to be blown away when you see other movies.
I honestly, you'd be blown away by watching a bad porno parody of some of those high fantasy films.
I thought you said the movie we're making isn't a porno.
No, we're making a porno, but I don't want this disease pandemic to be in the Middle Ages. I want it to be now.
Oh, right. Okay.
So yeah, my thoughts. This is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
No doubt.
Very original, right?
Incredibly original. It was pretty boring. Nothing about it stood out really, and the fights were not particularly interesting or particularly bad. There's very little substantial plot, and the main bulk of everything that matters doesn't even start until halfway through the movie, all of which add up to being one of my favorite movies of all time. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You've watched 10 movies in your life, is what you mean.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. Dave, you got a summary of this one?
Happy Gilmore is an aspiring ice hockey player who lacks on-ice skills other than a powerful slap shot. After another failed hockey tryout, Happy's girlfriend leaves him because of his hockey obsession and lack of success. Gilmore's grandmother has not paid her taxes for years and owes the IRS $270,000 in back taxes. The IRS repossesses her home and intends to auction it off in 90 days unless she can repay the full amount. While repossessing Grandma's furniture, two movers challenge Gilmore to a long drive contest using his grandfather's old golf clubs. With an unorthodox slap shot style swing, Gilmore hits a ball that strikes a house some 400 miles away, winning $40 after the movers bet he cannot do it again. As a result, He starts hustling golfers at the driving range. There, he meets Chubbs Peterson, a club pro and former golf star, who lost his right hand after an alligator attack. Chubbs convinces Gilmore to enter a local tournament to earn a spot on the Pro Golf Tour. Would you like me to continue?
I know. I think I got the gist of it. I'm not really sure how you got that out of this movie, but that is a deep analysis.
Well, I've been paying close attention because my contract says I have to.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I mean, sword fighting is a lot like street hockey, if you think about it, with the swinging of the sticks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, killing children.
I know I kill kids every time I've ever played street hockey.
Yeah, I mean, if you play it right, if you play it hard, you're whomping kids on the head.
Mike, you got some reviews there for us?
Yeah, I got some reviews here. A lot of people had a lot of thoughts about this one.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd love to hear them.
They're not necessarily coherent, but I'll do my best to translate. So the first one I have is from Amazon customer who titled the review "I Roll." This was written tree emoji, so you had to type it out. And they say a group of men is cautious around a girl they put in a cage. And that's the review.
A group of
Are they sure they watched the same movie and not one made by kink.com? Like, what the fuck?
They weren't necessarily cautious. I mean, maybe cautious about the girl because had so much cooties, but I don't know. Got a review here from Barbara Brown. She writes, broken DVD. The DVD broke up toward the end. I would like a new one sent. Barbara Brown. So, she probably watched most of it.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot in the end of the movie, the third act as a whole, that you really need to see to believe. So
that's where it
she
gets
got that
really
new
good.
one.
That's how it earned its top spot in my 10 movies I've seen.
I have a review from Petita, who wrote a review called 1 Star.
She titled it 1 star?
Yeah, it's called 1 Star.
Yes.
Let me finish. Let me go through real quick. So she gave it 5 stars, but she titled it 1 star, right?
Something like that. I mean, with a name like Petita, you don't really know what their intentions are. Petita said, I didn't like. Good, I did pay high price at the movie theater to see this movie.
Wait, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna hazard a guess. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say they were trying to say, good thing I didn't pay a high price at the movie theater to see it. But what they wrote was, good, I did pay high price at the movie theater to see this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they give it 1 star, objectively the best rating, because a star gives us life. And if we had 2 stars, it would be too hot.
Yes. Amazon customer wrote, didn't order this video, cancel immediately.
So here's a level of like grandpa internet that I don't even know what's like achievable. So they're asking for a refund on some of them, but they're just doing technical support from Amazon in a fucking review. That's incredible.
And also, they claim that they didn't order this video, but the review outs them as having a verified purchase. So figure that out, I guess.
It's like one of those memes where it's like, well, that was a lie. That was clearly a lie.
Yeah.
I have one from Tony E, who titled their review, "It's like alcohol-free beer, awful."
That guy was absolutely from Wisconsin. That's absolutely a Wisconsinite film.
I did write this. So I said, you know that alcohol-free beer is like bad, man. Well, that's the same as Nick Cage running around with a long-haired wig on and a sword in his hand.
Hey, I don't think that was a wig. That was his hair.
Yeah, I mean, his hair is a wig, but yeah.
Oh,
okay. I guess I'm an idiot. Don't worry.
Well, no doubt about that.
And
I got 2 more for you. One from is Mishu. One is from Mishu, I should say. who rated it 5 stars and said, "This is one of my favorite movies of all time." So Jess may be a new friend for you.
Yes.
She's seen 11 movies.
And Mishu writes, "This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I literally carry it with me on a flash drive in my purse."
Why?
It is just so awful. From the wigs to the accents to the lack of accents to the special effects to basically every moment. This takes place during the Crusades, and one of the characters has a very pronounced New York accent, and it's perfect and amazing.
Okay.
There's
Whiplash on that
nothing
one.
more pleasurable than showing this film to someone who has no idea what it is. Nick Cage plus Ron Perlman equals cinematic mania.
Hell yes.
And my last one is from House Goats R Us, who wrote a review called "Not Great Theater, but a Fun Story." And House Goats says, "Okay, so I'm a sci-fi fantasy action pseudo-historical geek with a taste for the occult. And this movie fits that bill perfectly. Plus, it's Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman. What else do you need? Oh, a cute chick, and she's there too."
Oh, God.
With that review was wearing Oakley sunglasses, a fedora, and a trench coat. Like, seriously. That was the most neck-beard film review I've heard in a hot minute.
True.
"Yeah, there's a cute chick, and she's there too.
Hell
Cute
yeah.
chicken, she's hot as fuck.
And she'll fucking burn you, bro.
Yeah,
Kind of like my ex-wife."
yeah, she has fat fucking gazongas, bro. Oh, those are some amazing reviews, though. Very, very informative, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot
we
about.
learned to
how
cancel
people-
immediately.
We learn from these reviews how your everyday person consumes media and how they react to it. And it turns out that people are having a hard time out there.
Absolutely.
And so I extend my condolences to anybody who got this movie and did not order it, even though they definitely did.
So I think that's all we have to say about Season of the Witch. And we've heard from all Amazon has to say about it as well. So we're going to take a short little break, and then we'll be back to you with Fred Durst Friday and Army of One.
I want to take one quick moment to plug my new cookbook, Seasoning the Witch, in which we tell you how to perfectly cook a woman.
Oh. Welcome back, everybody. We're here. We're going to talk to you about Army of One.
Before you introduce anything here, Jess, I am so fucking excited to talk about this fucking incredible film.
Oh, yes. So this one came out in 2016 and is rated R.
Wait, how?
I don't know. I don't really know why this movie is rated R. It actually was less violent and gory than the previous movie.
I think you can get an R rating automatically if you say the word fuck more than once.
Yeah, they must have had 2 fucks.
This movie gave 2 fucks.
Exactly and precisely 2 fucks.
Yeah.
Directed by Larry Charles.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the guy who directed fucking Borat, Bruno, like
Yeah.
Ridiculous, the Bill Maher fucking documentary or whatever.
He's a producer for Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. And then he's in like all the Seinfeld special features that I have watched extensively. So don't question that.
But yeah, so this was produced by Condé Nast Entertainment, which I had no idea they did like video production and movie production shit.
The same people that own Reddit fucking produced this movie? What?
Yeah, that is really fucking strange to me. I knew them mostly as owning like a ton of magazines and shit.
That is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. It's like if you don't know them, they own like Vogue, The New Yorker, GQ. Wait, Pitchfork or Condé Nast owns Pitchfork too. Wow. Okay.
Oh my fucking! We need to stop talking. This is gonna get into some conspiratorial shit. We need to move.
Last magazine.
And they own Bon Appetit.
Stop! I can't take it. There's so much conspiracy already.
Anyways,
Do they own B is for Build?
not that I see on here. but I don't know.
No,
They could.
bees for Bill, not the bees for Bill.
So this movie has a runtime of 93 minutes. I could not find its budget or its box office gross. So
You know what that means automatically?
yep, automatically is declared to be in the red, meaning that 11 out of 38 movies thus far have been in the black. 27 movies have not made as much money as they cost to make. So this one is an interesting one on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience and the critics agreed exactly. 25% from both. Yes.
Oh fuck.
25%. Is that the first time we've had that on the show?
Yes.
Maybe the audience was like disguised as critics when they went to go see this one.
Considering that the box office and budget weren't, I assume the only people that saw this were critics, so automatically were the audience.
Also, this definitely felt like a direct-to-video movie. I'm not sure if it was actually in the theaters.
Would you be shocked to find out that that's exactly what happened with this movie?
I would be honestly aghast.
Well, you are correct. It was a direct-to-video on demand.
That makes sense, honestly. I don't remember seeing any trailers or hearing about this at all, but I can't say that I remember hearing anything about most of these movies. So
I hadn't heard this movie at fucking all until it was going to be
I
on the
hadn't
next.
even heard of the brave hero that this movie is based off of. And
Yeah,
he apparently did a whole press junket about his experience.
I was going to say, before we get into that, we need to watch the whole movie because I have some fucking opinions on Nick Cage's portrayal of this brave, lovely man.
okay, so Mike, do you have any trivia for us here?
Not a ton on this one. It was written by Rajiv Joseph and Scott Rothman, who wrote the 2014 Kevin Costner picture Draft Day, if that interests you. And the only other thing that I could find about it was that the movie would have been. Nicolas Cage has claimed that the movie would have been a lot better if Larry Charles had gotten a final cut. So
I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say Larry Summers, and I'm like, wait, what?
Larry Sanders.
What about Bill Clinton's former economic advisor and friend of Jeffrey Epstein had anything to do with this movie?
Well, wait, was it this one or Season of the Witch was a Weinstein movie?
So it was Season of the Witch because Dimension Films is owned by Bob Weinstein.
Okay. Well, so the conspiracy goes deeper, in my opinion.
I mean, Bob Weinstein is the non-rapist that we know of. So, I mean, Harvey was the rapist.
I'm not confident enough to call any producers not a rapist until proven otherwise. So
yeah, I mean, come on, dude, don't talk shit about Bryan Singer because I know how much you guys respect Bryan Singer on this show.
we are we're big Bryan Singer fans and stands on this show. We love his films even more than he loves little kid. So
He loves taking care of little kids. He's a really good babysitter. In fact, before he became a director, he was a professional babysitter, right?
yeah, he the Babysitters Club was about an organization he used to run where they would just get a directory of young girls and they'd babysit them.
A directory of young girls that you could babysit and sign up for online, so you could have a like babysitting service, right?
Yeah, but it was weird because on the babysitting service, each child had a hotness rating.
So it's hot because you don't understand that was during the time when there was a big influenza outbreak, so everyone needed to know their temperature so that they could like monitor that just in case.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think if you go in the Wayback Machine on that website, JonBenet Ramsey actually debuted on that site. So
she debuted. She was actually the very first girl to be on that website. She was the
poster child.
She was the test person. Yeah. So it was coincidental that she had a miserable end shortly afterwards. So
yeah, and that had nothing to do with Bryan Singer. The man is a saint with just a very sinister taste.
Sinister taste in the movies that he directs. He directs usually very dark pieces about very complex characters.
Yeah, very complex X-Men mutant characters.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yes, we were talking about this incredible figure, and we interrupted your description of this film.
Yeah. So
Trivia. I apologize.
that was all the trivia that I had. Nicolas Cage apparently was very adamant that Larry Charles should have overseen more of the final product of this movie, which apparently he didn't for unknown reasons. So sorry, Larry Charles, that your vision wasn't fully realized, but you know what? It's a banger, baby.
Talk about a vision. I mean, he had a vision from God to make this movie.
Yeah, and
Oh, yes.
God, definitely God. Who I knew Russell Brand was in this movie, obviously from the poster. But when I heard God's voice at first, I thought it was Ricky Gervais, and I thought they were being cheeky because
Boo.
he's like super atheist and was playing God or whatever. And then I was like, oh no, that's just one of the other British ones.
Oh, this is so cool.
Speaking
I'm
of,
sorry. Keep going.
there are a lot of people in this movie that you probably recognize. Like, well, another big one is Wendy McClendon Covey, who you might not know the name, but she was in Bridesmaids.
Oh, I when I saw her, I'm like, oh, that's that chick from fucking Reno 911.
Reno 911, baby.
Reno 911, Bridesmaids. Rainn Wilson, Dwight from The Office. Russell Brand, Paul Scheer, who I mostly know from Comedy Bang Bang appearances, but
I know him from How Did This Movie Get Made podcast, and I think he was on like I Love the 90s, 80s back in like VH1 back in the day and shit. So
yeah, he does the big How Did This Movie Get Made podcast and a few other ones, and he was on Nailed It, and is just a major cutie. Will Sasso from Mad TV was the other buddy in this movie.
Isn't Will Sasso another recurring character on Cage Fight? An actor?
Well, I'm very strong in my stance that Will Sasso should be in more movies.
Will Sasso kind of rips. He had literally one of the only good Vine accounts.
Yeah, he was.
Wait, I didn't know he had a Vine account.
His Vine account was fucking incredible. It was really funny. I'm not even joking.
And he's probably the best Kenny Rogers will ever see.
I remember Bo Burnham's Vine account actually being pretty awesome, but
well, I said one of the only, not the only, but his Will Sasso's Vine account was really good.
Yeah, I was a big. I like Logan Paul, Jake Paul.
You want to talk about child raping scumbags, and Bryan Singer's not one of them. I mean, we could talk about Logan and Jake Paul a fucking day. Those guys are real pieces of shit, unlike Bryan Singer, who's a saint and just an incredible figure who is going to eventually run for president on the Democratic primary tickets.
I didn't know the Paul brothers were rapists. I just knew they exploited children.
I mean, they look like rapists.
I mean, let's be honest though. If you're like a former Disney person and you exploit children for their money, you're also exploiting them for their fucking like bodies. Let's be honest.
I suppose, yeah. I don't
Logan
think
Paul.
You don't exploit both.
Logan Paul's in a movie that just came out that is a remake of a Nicolas Cage movie called Valley Girl.
Oh, Logan Paul actually just came out and remade Lolita, and it's not what you expect.
Is it the Jeffrey Epstein Lolita?
Well, Logan Paul was originally the first male person on the Lolita Express.
Oh.
Okay, we're getting off topic again here, pretty hardcore. But this movie is about a guy named Gary Faulkner, who is a real person, an ex-construction contractor, who got what he believed to be a message from God to go capture Osama bin Laden and bring Osama bin Laden to justice.
Gary Faulkner is played by the illustrious, eponymous Nicolas Cage.
Yes, the Cage that you know of from the title of this podcast, and you may have heard of if you've listened to this, but we are off topic quite a bit. So, but
I will before I get into the analysis of this character, I will say it is really brave of Nicolas Cage to play an Adam Sandler character in a movie.
He straight up, you could tell he wasn't doing any of the lines. It was overdubbed by Adam Sandler. Oh, yeah. And Gary Faulkner and Cage's depiction of Gary Faulkner, though they don't look too much the same, they both kind of look like Larry Charles, who directed this movie. And
I was thinking they kind of look like George Romero.
Yeah, he looks like George Romero.
That's the guy who made Zombieland, right?
Yeah, he made Zombieland.
The guy who made iZombie, that fucking dumb TV show that came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gary Faulkner is a real person. I think he did an interview on Letterman back in like 2010.
He did Letterman, The View, Fox and Friends.
I was gonna say no spoilers, but if you were to happen to watch the post-roll like credit sequence of this movie, you might know some of those fucking things, Jess.
Okay, I did watch a bit of it, but I was like taking notes, and I had things to write. But but yeah,
Sorry, Jess is too good to stay for The View clips.
So moving on to the plot summary here, and then we can really analyze this person's character. I gotta say, like right off the bat, with the narration that a lot of this movie has, and like the goofy music, it reminds me of like an episode of Arrested Development.
No, honestly, that really did. I think they were trying to go for like an Arrested Development tone because I mean, in Arrested Development, they do take an excursion to Iraq.
Oh yeah, that is true. They do. But yeah, this movie takes place. It starts in 2005. Cage is playing Gary Faulkner, who is a guy who apparently, according to psychologists, is not suffering from any form of mental illness. He's
to everyone's shock.
Yeah, he's getting dialysis weekly. Oh, sorry.
That's the thing. I think there's a mental illness called doing it for the lols, and I think that's why he did this.
Oh yeah. He is on dialysis because he has bad kidneys, so he's getting dialysis weekly. And early on in the movie, we kind of see a lot of shots of him complaining about how the U.S. isn't finding bin Laden faster. There is an early scene where he's yelling about that in a bar, and a former Marine walks up and gets mad at him, so Cage challenges him to a knife-throwing contest and accidentally stabs his friend, Will Sasso, in the fucking arm.
And the bartender just stands there, not concerned at all that they're, like, throwing knives at the dartboard, which I don't think is good for it, but I'm not sure.
He's a regular there. He can throw knives if he wants to. So we also see that Cage's character, Faulkner, is kind of racist and xenophobic. He's literally walks around a hardware store telling people not to buy foreign products for pretty racist reasons.
Why would you buy a faucet from a country that's going through a drought?
Well, and yeah, he also says some shit about people being unclean, I think. I don't know. But in the process, he bumps into an old friend from, like, high school or something, I guess. Her name is Marcy.
I assumed high school, but yeah, they didn't really say.
And talks to her a bit. And he says, like, we'll meet up for ice cream. I'll figure out where you are.
Wait, she is not creeped out by.
No.
Okay, so you're missing some of the dialogue in that scene, which I think kind of really pinpoints the problem with this movie. Is I think a lot of the dialogue is improv, but it's improv really badly.
It is definitely seems to be improv, and it moves by really quickly. So I think a lot of it kind of flew by me a little bit. But yeah, there is some pretty bad improv. But yeah, shortly after, Russell Brand is God, and he shows up while Cage is getting his dialysis to tell him to go to Pakistan and capture bin Laden alive. He's very specific about it being alive. He says, thou shalt not kill, remember that. So then after that, Cage shows up at Marcy's place with ice cream. And she's like, how did you find me? And he's like, I'm a sleuth. Or whatever.
Like, oh boy, I just sleuthed around a little bit.
Yeah. Not creepy at all.
Totally normal.
While he's there, he finds out about, like, Marcy's daughter, who is disabled, doesn't talk. I don't know if she can't talk, like there's something wrong with her vocal cords, or if she's just maybe like very autistic or something, but she's also wheelchair bound.
Cage is not afraid to call her a cripple every 5 minutes.
Yup. Not at all.
This movie, like, I feel like this movie's really far right. Like, this movie is very, like...
It does seem pretty far right sometimes.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of issues with just everything.
Absolutely.
Nicolas Cage is in a lot of shit that seems pretty fucking far right sometimes, and it makes me concerned about him.
Yeah, and I hope he's just doing it for the paycheck, but he's a cop an awful lot.
Yeah. But he tells Marcy about his plan to capture bin Laden, which involves sailing over there. But first he's going to go to Vegas to raise the money to buy the boat. Afterwards, she gives him a kiss, like I don't know why she's so charmed by this insane man who found out where she lives and told her about his plan to sail to Pakistan.
Everything that he says is both crazier and more offensive than the last thing he said, and it just charms her more.
So, like, he rebuilds her ramp up to her door the next day after that, just starts doing it while she's still asleep without ever asking or telling her about it, but she doesn't seem all that upset about it, which, I mean, I guess you're getting a new ramp out of it, so. He goes to
It doesn't look like tall enough to do any cool tricks on it or anything. It's just kind of like a practical ramp, which is disappointing, but
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
I was rooting
it
for a
was
half
free.
pipe. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he should have made like a whole skating rink so she could wheel up to the house in style. You know what I mean?
Hell
Yeah. At the
You
very
do a
least, a
couple-
quarter pipe.
I was gonna say do a couple 720s or something on before you get into the house. Like he could have done something way cooler than what he did.
Mm-hmm. So they go to the casino in Vegas, or Cage does, with Paul Scheer and Will Sasso, who I don't know their names, that they're just them.
Roy and Pickles.
Oh yeah, Roy and Pickles. And Cage wakes up believing he was robbed by Colombian drug lords, but he actually just lost all of his money at the tables, so he got no money out of it. That scene was strange, but like we do find out in the next scene from his doctor that apparently if you go long enough without getting dialysis treatments, it can cause hallucinations. I don't know if that's true.
No, that is definitely true. I mean, really any kind of condition that really sort of alters your homeostasis and your ability to function normally without the proper care can cause mental like difficulties. So that's definitely a thing that could easily happen.
Okay, that's interesting. I had no idea that was the case. So I learned something watching this movie.
Yeah, your mental health and your ability to have cognizance is very much dependent on your organs functioning properly.
Yeah, if I don't get my dialysis, I'm fucking tripping balls, dude.
No, I don't. Believe it or not, I don't even have any kidney issues. I just go to dialysis because I think it's fucking cool. It's fun.
Yeah, it honestly feels warm.
I just go to DeVita to like hang out with like 70-year-old fucking formerly alcoholic spinsters.
Exactly.
So he goes to his doctor, and while he's talking there about all this, he asks the doctor to lend him $1,000 so he can buy the sailboat. And when the doctor says that's crazy, he goes, "Oh yeah, I came up with that excuse. I'm doing it to buy an engagement ring for this girl I really like." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'll lend you $1,000." I don't know if this part of the story is true or not, if he got the money for the sailboat from his doctor, but who is on good enough terms with their doctor that their doctor will just lend them $1,000?
I don't think that's a thing that would ever happen. Like there is a lot of patient like doctor confidentiality stuff where a doctor would never give money to a patient while they're in the fucking office. That's not going to happen ever.
My doctor pays my doctor bills, so it's pretty fucking chill and rad.
I mean, my doctor gave me a couple $100 once to just like tell him and like gave me like hush money after he fucked me, but that's the only time that's ever happened.
Oh, God. Okay. So he uses that $1,000 and goes and buys a sailboat, which he takes out sailing, and immediately capsizes, essentially. He washes up on the shore of Mexico, and once he's back home, I think he moves in with Marcy. They never really explicitly state that he's doing that, but
yeah, he's just like always crashing there.
Yeah. Apparently, Cage develops a very close bond with Marcy's daughter, who I think is named Lindsay. I don't remember exactly, but
wheelchair girl.
Yeah. Cage and Marcy confess their love for one another, and they begin a relationship. I gotta be honest here, I'm so fucking confused on what she sees in this man. But
yeah, well, that's the thing though, is that I gathered that she's a very, very hardworking, basically single mother.
Yeah.
Who, to be honest with you, she's probably so overworked and overtired that like she sees this just like mentally broken, mostly unattractive, weird man, and it's just like, fuck it, this is the best I'll ever get.
Yeah.
It's a really depressing ass romance.
It is a very depressing romance because she is very level-headed and she's just trying to find someone to help support her and her daughter.
She's frankly cute for her, like, especially for her age. She can do much better.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. But she's stuck with this guy.
With this winner.
Who she repeatedly refers to as like a stud or like super sexy all the time.
And you know for a fact that Nick Cage wrote that and made her say that.
So they start a relationship, and late at night, he sees Russell Brand again, who orders him to buy a samurai sword on the shopping network.
Oh, I'm sorry, Russell Brand, God. I know it's a little bit redundant, but we really do have to emphasize just how amazing that casting was to make Russell Brand God in this movie.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
It really does.
Cage Faulkner buys the samurai sword, and also decides that he's going to hang glide from a mountain in Israel into Pakistan for his next entry into the country. So,
what a lot of people don't know is that Israel, like the highest point in Israel, is roughly 55 miles tall. So you could theoretically paraglide into Pakistan from there because there's just so much like room to descend.
True. It is pretty tall. I don't know if you could get quite the distance that you need to, but
I think you honestly could. I feel like you could take a few updrafts for a few thousand miles to easily get to Pakistan.
okay.
We'll have to test it out in Just Cause 3 to see if it works.
But he goes to a sporting goods store and buys a hang glider.
It's a giant American flag hang glider, and it seems perfect for him.
Yes. He doesn't ask any questions about the hang glider. He asks the store clerk what songs he should play from his jukebox to pump him up.
Well, and he also alludes to the fact that he plans on cutting the hang glider up and reassembling it once he arrives in Israel, which he is advised to not do.
Yes, he is advised to not do that. But also the store clerk suggests Tom Petty as music to go to, which I find interesting because he does cut the hang glider into pieces and goes back to he flies out to Israel, much to Marcy's chagrin, with his samurai sword.
And I'll be damned if he's not free falling on that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he is free falling, which I gotta say, I don't think they got the money to license free falling, but the song that they play in the background, it's the same chords. I noticed that, so it was a little touch. So he gets there, he gets into flight, and because he broke it into pieces and basically duct taped it back together, it immediately breaks apart and he breaks his leg. And when he flies back home, he's living with Marcy again and decides to give up on his mission and help Marcy around the house. But almost immediately changes his mind when Russell God shows up.
And he's pissed.
Yeah, and he's fucking mad and says like, you got to go through this plan or be smitten or smited. I don't know what is that, the present participle of.
Oh, he'll be smitten, all right.
Yes. So then he shows up drunk to a very angry Marcy to tell her his plan and that he's going back to Pakistan again, and she is just not happy about it. So this time he actually decides to get a visa to Pakistan and fly there. And he checks into a hotel and then decides to do some recon, but mostly just fucks around and does weird shit. Does a bunch of drugs.
He's trying to look for molasses, but he accidentally gets molasses. I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Tons of molasses.
By the way, molasses for chicken wings.
Yes.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't have a chicken wing recipe.
Some kind of sauce to make the most American fucking chicken wings you have ever had. Apparently, the word molasses is really offensive to people who don't primarily speak English.
I don't really understand what that whole bit was even supposed to mean.
I think it was that he was saying molasses and they thought he was calling them a jackass.
Which, first off, if they can't understand molasses, they're not going to understand the word jackass, too.
And also, he's very proud to be called a jackass in this entire movie. He identifies as a donkey.
Oh, yes, he does repeatedly say that his spirit animal is a donkey or some shit like that. His dad called him a donkey.
Because his father called him a jackass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe his dad was trying to call him molasses for all we know. I don't know.
Yeah. So on a second day, he's robbed. And shortly thereafter, he threatens a group of people with his sword. For some reason, he thinks he's saving a woman. I don't know exactly. But word about this passes to the local CIA headquarters in Islamabad because he apparently disrupted an ongoing investigation that the CIA had there, and they decide to capture and, quote, neutralize him. I've got to say, all of the jokes that they made in the CIA headquarters, they do seem like riffed, like they were improv, and they all fall really flat. I was kind of cringing personally. But
Yeah, I mean, like Larry Charles went from directing The Dictator to this, which I feel like was also probably largely improvised, but Sacha Baron Cohen is a very different example of the type of person who can just, improvise a movie, and none of the people involved in this one really strength.
yeah, Cage gets another vision from God, steals someone's motorcycle, and disrupts an entire like market. And he's then arrested and turned over to the CIA, who then revokes his ability to travel anymore and are going to send him back to the U.S. However, as Cage is leaving his hotel, the hotel security guy is shot. And apparently this was just like a dispute between the hotel security guy and another guy over, they say it's over a goat. So the movie's just kind of being racist, I think. But
Oh, you're telling me this movie's racist?
yeah, a lot of this movie's depictions of Pakistan and Pakistani people are not, they're certainly not PC.
Hey, they love to party and they'll fucking shoot you over a goat. I don't know what is offensive about that.
So after that guy gets shot, Cage assumes that it's Al-Qaeda out to get him because he's there looking for Osama bin Laden, and he flees somewhere into the countryside in search of bin Laden further, and falls asleep in some field and dreams that he defeats bin Laden in a sword fight. But he then wakes up in a hospital with the CIA agents there. Obviously, the dream, it was a dream, it wasn't reality. He didn't actually even find bin Laden. The agents escort him back to the US, and he is immediately swarmed by the media upon returning home. At one point, he references a movie being made about him starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, when he's at the bar being like, they asked me what type of people should play me, and I said Nick Cage, and I'm like, dude, come on. Like, I don't mind fourth wall breaking meta stuff, but that just fucking sucked.
And he says specifically Nick Cage in Con Air.
Yeah, he's like, don't you think Nick Cage in Con Air looks kind of like me?
Honestly, I didn't know that you guys wrote the part of the script for this movie.
Oh yeah.
That was the part that we wrote, so thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, they brought us on as consultants.
And also the guy, the actual Gary Faulkner, doesn't look anything like Nick Cage.
No, and not only does he not look like him, he doesn't sound to really act like him either.
No.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I said though, is that like Nick Cage plays a shitty Adam Sandler character in this movie. He is nothing like the actual Gary Faulkner, who is a weird guy, but is a mostly like soft-spoken, almost grandfatherly looking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Jerry Garcia.
Yeah. Like what the fuck kind of role? Like, did Nick Cage not know who Gary Faulkner is? Like, listen, I think I might know who this guy it might be like in real life, and just did that.
Like, hey, Nick, watch these interviews of this guy, and he's like, "No, I got it.
It's like going to a test in the morning and not studying. And be like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking ace this fucking test.
This guy definitely sounds like some nasally prick, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's really weird about it too is that like this wouldn't be so jarring if they didn't put his interviews at the end of the movie in the post-credit sequence.
Yeah, the fact that they juxtaposed those immediately, I was like, wow, he doesn't really sound anything like Nick Cage.
That was a baffling design decision. That's one of the most confusing decisions in a movie I've seen in a long fucking time. I just don't even understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this I don't know if you guys are ready for your opinions on this movie, but this movie was a fucking train wreck. I did not like this movie at all.
Oh, there's still a little bit of plot, but he tells Marcy he's going to go back to Pakistan to finish the job, but he sees on the news that bin Laden has been killed. So it's 2011 now. And I actually remember watching TV when that report came on.
Dude, I remember it was like all over the fucking news. And I remember when I was in school, and I've always been like a very like anti-imperialist type of like, sort of anti-American when it comes to like conflicts. And I was like, I mean, yeah, we killed bin Laden, but also like we were responsible for bin Laden. And the only thing I remember was one kid's like, hey, you really think that's cool to say, buddy? How about I kick your ass? And I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck you are, loser.
That was Gary Faulkner.
And it was Gary Faulkner. He was in high school with me up in Green Bay.
But yeah, he doesn't believe that Osama is actually dead. So he immediately sets out for Pakistan, and I couldn't really tell what the fuck went on in the movie, but I took it that he has a change of heart on the plane ride and turns around and lives his life out with Marcy.
Which is contradicted immediately by the text on the screen that says he's using all the proceeds that he's getting from this movie to continue his quest to find and bring bin Laden to justice.
Yeah.
Bin Laden.
Oh yeah, bin Laden. But yeah,
which is his witness protection name.
Overall thoughts on this movie? Taylor, you sounded ready.
I'll reiterate what I accidentally said 2 minutes ago. Yeah, this movie fucking sucked. I hated it. It was really, there was a lot of dumb racism. There was very bad like ad-libbing and improv. Nick Cage's performance in this movie was bafflingly inaccurate. And it's not even like a good, bad Nick Cage performance. It's just a bad Nick Cage performance. Easily the worst I've seen on this show so far, because every single movie I've seen, he's either good in a bad movie or he's bad in a bad movie, but he's funny in it. Whereas this movie, he was just bad.
Yeah, I think all the things that I actually found entertaining about this movie were not things that I was supposed to find this movie entertaining.
Yeah.
And everything that I was, you were supposed to find entertaining was it's kind of obnoxious and weird and honestly boring. Like,
just like Season of the Witch, I was talking about how many tropes that movie has, but this movie has a lot of tropes too. Just like the woman who always sticks by her man, regardless of how shitty and neglectful he is. That's a trend. That's a trope I really hate in movies.
Yeah.
It's really tiring because, like, in real life, let me tell you what, women put up with not even a tenth of the shit this woman put up with in this fucking movie.
I doubt anyone would, stick by someone on their first attempt when they realized that this person was serious about sailing to fucking Pakistan. And I don't know anything about Gary Faulkner's actual fucking relationship, but I feel like Marcy was a kind of a made-up character. I don't know.
I feel like probably a composite of like a female friend or his mom or something. She's probably not a relationship type figure. I think they made that up entirely for the film.
Yeah, because it was a very strange cycle of first of all, her character at the start of the movie is an independent can't be tied down sort of character, and Gary Faulkner comes along and proves that he is not the person that you should change your mind based off of, but for some reason is very taken with him. And throughout the movie, as he proves time and time again that he is not worth the time, it just makes her fall more in love with him. And maybe they're perfect for each other for that reason. They're both stupid as fuck.
She's written with absolutely no agency in the story. Essentially just written there to have some sort of subplot about him at home. Because they need something for him to return to, so she's just created for that purpose, essentially. But this movie is pretty fucking racist. Do you think this movie or Rage was more racist?
It's honestly, a tie. No, I would say Rage, because at least in this movie he doesn't kill any minorities, right?
That's true. He doesn't kill any minorities.
That's true. One of the things that I did find surprising is that his plan doesn't involve like finding and killing bin Laden, but just like capturing him, which he seems like the kind of guy who'd be like, we gotta fucking skin this motherfucker.
I think the difference is that this movie has the type of racism that would exist in like a blue collar comedy tour special in like the early 2000s, whereas Rage is just Nazi propaganda. So I think that two different levels of racism going on.
Yeah, there are two different levels of racism. I would say Rage is probably more racist because it's it's kind of overt, but this movie, I feel like there are a lot of people who would watch this and not realize the racism.
I don't know if you know, but Rage, the original script, was entitled The Turner Diaries. I don't know if you ever heard that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a small tome. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It was just like a diaries of like some random guy, last name Turner. So.
Oh no,
not Nat. Because the Nat Turner Diaries would have been really fucking fascinating.
The Nat Turner Diaries would be fucking great. I don't know. I do feel that like Cage gets into this character that he's playing. It's not a very good representation of Faulkner, but like he's consistent. You know what I mean? So I got to give him that at least.
The role, I will say that, like he doesn't really ever have moments of like breaking that character while filming, which I think is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's a good character at all.
Yeah, it seemed at the very least it seemed like he had fun with it. But I mean,
the whole character was just annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our overall thoughts on that thing. Mike, you got those reviews?
My first one is from someone named Biddle's Escape, which is a great name to have on Amazon.
Wait, what? Biddle's Escape?
Biddle's Escape. And Biddle's Escape writes, Michelle, stop buying Nicolas Cage movies. It's disturbing.
Okay, so this guy's already like persona non grata to us. I mean, why would you even say something like that?
This is a man who communicates with his wife via Amazon reviews.
Great communication on their part. That's the foundation to any healthy relationship. Passive aggressive Amazon
reviews. Disturbed by his wife's choice in rentals. So
I do agree. I think this is the cornerstone of a good relationship, which is why none of my relationships have done this, because we have not had healthy relationships. So,
congrats to them. Next review is from JC Stanhill, and they wrote a 2-star review titled "Lend Me Your Earplugs," and they said, "I could not tolerate Cage's constant screaming. It was horrible. I closed the player after 15 minutes. Congratulations to all who could withstand the high volume rant. Triple ugh."
Good old triple ugh. Is that a scale of Uggs? Is that his rating system?
Yeah, and I think triple ugh is the highest it goes. So
it's like Michelin stars, the 3 Uggs.
Yeah, precisely. I'd 3 Michelin Uggs out of 3 to this one. I have a review from CJ Belleville who says 5 out of 5 stars. This is awesome. N. Cage nailed this role, and Russell Brand as Jesus. This is awesome. Which I'm glad they enjoyed it, but I think they misunderstood a few things.
That guy absolutely has a Rise Records bumper sticker for sure.
And I have one more from Richard Raredon, who says, Gary lives in my neighborhood and I want to be friends with him. Watch this and you will too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, so he wrote a review saying he wants to be friends with one of his neighbors, and instead of talking to him, decided to write a review about how he wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's called anxiety.
That is, yeah, like, oh my god, there's so many like Midwest emo songs that could be written about that film review. Seriously,
have you never written an Amazon review?
Down the street, and I'm just too nervous trying to talk to.
Have you never written a fucking Amazon review about like the match that you're afraid to message first on Tinder?
Well, I don't know if you know, but all Midwest emo songs all started on Amazon reviews. The original American Football album was written in the comments section.
Yeah, you can go find that on a Amazon review for Con Air, I believe.
I think it was reviews for Too Fast, Too Furious. That's where it was originally written.
Yeah, and they had that song Never Meant, and then in parentheses, to review The Hangover instead of Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, man.
Shit. Do you have any more reviews?
That was all I had. A lot of the reviews for that one were either people that were just confused or way too excited and wrote way too much. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, are y'all ready for the vote?
I am so ready for the vote.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave? You ready to do the countdown?
I think he fled the room. But shit, I'll count this down. Fuck it.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Season of the Witch.
A reluctant Season of the Witch vote.
You know, it's very much a Xandali situation where Season of the Witch is just so overwhelmingly good that it just had to beat out.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Just
It's one for the ages.
completely overpowered.
I am sure that our final matchup will be Xandali and Season of the Witch for sure.
Oh, yes.
And Season of the Witch, which we didn't pick because it is streaming on HBO now, our sponsor, but people will speculate that that's why we picked it.
Yes, I believe people will speculate that. And, you know, if HBO wants to, give us a little bit of that money just because of it, we wouldn't stop them. In fact, we would be very grateful because we just sent viewers their way.
This
And if I will tell my honest opinions here, because of course, I'm always honest on this pod. I've never lied once on the podcast. But in all seriousness, though, Season of the Witch only won because even though it wasn't a good movie, it didn't actively annoy me like Army of One did. Like Army of One was actively an extremely irritating film for me.
Yeah. I gotta be honest here. I almost voted for Army of One just because I had more to say about it, and I feel like I could talk more about it next time. But I had to go with Season of the Witch because it was at least tolerable. I don't know. I sat on my phone and wasn't just like watching this being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, every single scene in Army of One, I was always like, why is this a movie that even has to exist? I don't understand. Like, I'm pretty sure Gary Faulkner isn't in real life like, oh yeah, he got my character completely. I'm sure Gary Faulkner is extremely offended that this film fucking exists.
Oh yeah.
But he gets money out of it, so money is not goal, but
this thing he didn't, because not only was the box office not advertised, but neither was the budget. So, and at the end of the movie, I don't know if you got to that, but there's a little thing that says this movie was made in order to basically pay for Gary to get a new kidney. Did you see that part?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
He has a new kidney now and is using the rest of the money to continue his journey.
Yeah, this movie was the funds of this movie was given to some random Chinese doctor to like fucking farm organs from some like Uyghur like political prisoner to just give to Gary Faulkner so he can go back to Pakistan and keep looking for Osama bin Laden. Yeah, this movie's got blood. The movie got Uyghur blood money on it.
I didn't know that. So that, God, what the fuck? Why?
I know, this movie's terrible.
God, Nicolas Cage really hasn't been involved in any good things in the 2010s that we've seen thus far.
Oh, seriously? Is he like? Oh, funny. Never mind. I'll get to that in a later episode. But yeah, no, Nick Cage has not done a single good thing that entire decade. I swear to fucking God.
I think Mandy came out it came out in like 2018, so it might.
That might be the one exception, but even then, it's real iffy for Nick Cage's career in the last decade or so. It really has.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. I don't know about you two. If you got anything else,
I think I am all set.
Okay.
I am fully spent. No ejac left in the tank.
All right, so next time we are finally in round 2, which is exciting. So we're going to see in round 2, there are a couple of movies that just passed directly into round 2 because the number of movies didn't line up to a nice even bracket where everything could be in the first round. So there's going to be some movies we haven't seen and some movies we have seen. The first matchup next week will be returning favorite Deadfall. And that will be going up against Raising Arizona, a Coen Brothers movie.
Is the number 1 seed, isn't it?
Yes, it's the number 1 seed. Going against Deadfall. I don't know about y'all, but it's the most memorable thing I've been exposed to on this podcast thus far.
It's one of the most beloved movies that amongst
really though, Jess, are you fucking retard, man?
What am I, a fucking retard, man? Am I a fucking retard?
I'm very
excited.
So
which one won? The bad movie or the other bad movie?
Oh, the bad one.
Dope.
Yeah, so next week, watch Raising Arizona and rewatch Deadfall if you're down for it. You should be. If not, just watch the scenes with Nick Cage on YouTube. They're all up there.
I definitely listened to that episode, and I'm so fucking excited to watch Deadfall.
Hell yes. I'm glad you are too.
This could be a tough matchup.
I have it on DVD now, so
I bet you don't have Raising Arizona on DVD, do you?
no, I don't, unfortunately. But so yeah, join us for that, and also at least catch the Fred Durst cameos in Zoolander and Pauly Shore's Dad. And y'all have a wonderful however long it is between the release of this one and the last, and the next.
Absolutely. This is Taylor signing off. See you, everybody.
G-Force Gang, peace out.
Oh yeah, shit, we haven't heard much from the G-Force Gang.
Fuck them.
And damn, that's cold.
Yeah, no, fuck them guinea pig wop losers. Fuck them.
And this is Jess. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What?
Cage fight. Oh yeah. Cage fight. Here goes Cage.
This has been a Solid Work production.
Solid work. Solid work. Solid work. Hey, solid work.